So maybe why don't we start introducing ourselves first? Because in my channel, people probably don't know about you, and maybe people from your channel don't know about me. So why don't you introduce yourself first? Hello. Maybe if you want, you can start.
사실은
You can say
저는
Korean too.
너무 긴장돼요.
Why? You do live streaming every day.
It's not live though. It's pre-recorded. So, okay, I'll introduce myself. 인사하겠습니다. 여러분 안녕하세요. 저는 첼로쌤이라고 합니다. 저는 필리핀 사람인데 한국어 조금밖에 할 수 없습니다. 많은 수고하셨습니다.
한국어 잘해요, 진짜. 그리고 발음이 진짜 좋아요, 발음.
감사합니다.
Korean teacher, but also an English teacher too, right?
네. I was actually an English teacher and then I decided to switch to Korean teaching, but now I do them both.
What made you change?
Are we starting the interview now?
No, I'm just curious. We can just talk, freely.
It's because, like I mentioned, I worked before as an English teacher in a Korean academy. I mean, an English academy for the Koreans. So Koreans are coming here to the Philippines to study English, and then I had so many Korean friends and Korean students, and that's why I became interested in the language.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yes.
Okay, so then let me introduce myself.
It's your turn.
Yes. So, okay guys, I'm Gadul. Actually, it's my nickname. My real name is Hyun-seok, and I live in Korea. Yeah, of course, I'm from Korea too. And I'm not an English teacher or a Korean teacher. I'm just an ordinary engineer. But I'm actually doing YouTube because it's fun. Because I like to do something different besides my job. So I dance and I do YouTube as a hobby. So yeah, I just like to try many things. And yeah, so I decided to teach Korean because, actually it helps me a lot. It helps me with English because I have to talk in English during the lesson. And also, I like to communicate with people. So it's why I made a Facebook group also. Yeah, there are many reasons. But yeah, now I'm a YouTuber and dancer and engineer too.
Wow. I have watched your dance videos actually.
Really? In my YouTube channel?
너무 잘해요.
So, let me check the chatting. Wow, I'm surprised there are 21 people. Guys, let us know where you guys are from. Are you all from Philippines? Okay, so why don't we start questioning each other? Do you want to start first, or do you want me to start first?
I think you prepared a lot of questions for me, right?
Not so much, just maybe typical questions, but I will probably make other further questions from there.
I didn't prepare that much questions, but I have prepared a challenge for you.
Okay.
So, everyone who's watching now, don't leave yet. Wait for the challenge for Gadul.
Okay, I'm excited for that. So then, okay, then let me just ask you first. Oh well, I made this Facebook very recently, months ago, and I noticed that most of my followers are from Philippines, and actually before this I knew that Korean culture is popular in Southeast Asia, but I didn't know it's the most popular in Philippines. So can you probably tell me why Korean culture is popular in your country?
Because of the high standard of what they call K-pop image, right? So K-pop image, it's like you can never be ugly. You should never show any bad sides or any unpleasant side of yours. That's why I think not just Filipinos, but even Americans or other nationalities could see Koreans as wow, perfect. Wow, it's above the standard. That's
So
why I think many Filipinos get easily hooked, especially with the Korean dramas or anything about Korea, Korean culture is amusing because it looks good. It looks so good. It looks so perfect. That's why.
so basically, it's mostly about like appearance.
Not just the appearance, but the way the country presents itself.
Mm. Okay. So it's not only about appearance, but like the image of Korea that is shown on TV shows or dramas. Like they all look really good and nice, right?
Yes, even the government. Every time I hear something about the government of Korea, wow, really? That's nice. Like
Ah.
that. So I admire a lot of things about Korea. That's why.
Oh wow, that's really interesting to hear. Mm. Okay, I'm not sure about the government because they are doing kind of badly nowadays. But yeah, probably
Nowadays.
yeah. But maybe we can talk about it like later because it'll be really a long talk. But okay, oh that's really interesting. So okay, I have more questions, but like maybe it's your turn now.
Okay, have prepared a question here. Let's read some comment first.
Okay.
They said, well, Filipino and Korean became friends because of the war. And that's true. I heard about that.
Mm.
Have you heard about that? When the Filipino soldiers helped Korea, like in the war, way back before.
Mm. Actually, I didn't know is why we became closer.
They're asking, where are you now? I am from Philippines and Gadul, she is from Korea.
I'm ready.
Okay, ready for the question? Do you want to answer their question first, or do you want to
Oh,
answer my question first?
okay. Maybe we can answer their questions first. What was the question?
From JM. He said, for Gadolshi, I heard they said 70% of Korean are cold to Southeast Asian. Is that correct?
Cold. Ah. Oh my god, that can be a really sensitive question, but I'm not sure how many percent, but there is a bad, but there are bad people everywhere in the world, but yeah, of course in Korea there are also bad people. I'm not sure how many people, but I think usually older people, like my father's generation or even older than that, like grandfather's generation, maybe they kind of think, Southeast Asia, not like all the countries, but since Korea is living better than before, so like old generation people kind of like look down on like a Southeast Asia countries just because we live better, but it's really like usually only for old people. So whenever I see those kind of things, I really feel bad because I really respect like everyone, like whoever they are or wherever they are from. But I also like few times noticed that when I travel to Southeast Asian countries, like old people, they don't speak English very well, so they just speak Korean to the, like for example, Filipino people or like Thai people, but they speak Korean but in 반말.
Hmm.
So I was like, really? Why? Like, you met the person for the first time. Like, you shouldn't speak 반말 to them. Like, I felt always bad to the like people. They think, oh no, you don't understand Korean, so I will just speak 반말 to you. So I feel really bad if that happens to, like, if I see them, like maybe if I see my friends doing that, I would probably tell them not to do that. But anyway, I think it's kind of true. There are some bad people who are treating Southeast Asian people kind of badly, I think.
Okay, so I think it's time for my question.
Okay.
Is it? Here, my question is actually one of the commenters already asked the question.
Mm-hmm.
That's the same question I have prepared. What do Koreans think about Philippines or about Filipinos?
Mm. Okay. That's a difficult question. It's just I don't think I can represent like general opinions. I cannot really tell general opinions about like Philippine, but in my opinion, in my personal opinion, when you think of Philippine, like first we think of is like it has such a nice weather, so like people really wanna go there to enjoy the sun, like sunny weather and the beach and like yeah, like even I went to Philippines for scuba diving too. So when you think of Philippines, we think of like travel. And about people,
Actually, I can totally agree with that because as I have mentioned earlier, I have been working with Koreans, with Korean students, with Korean friends, and every time they meet a Filipino, the first thing they would ask, "Oh, you're a Filipino? Oh, mango.
mango.
Do we look like a mango?"
That's true.
When they hear, "Oh, you're a Filipino, wow, Cebu, wow, Bohol." So every time I think they meet someone who is a Filipino, the first thing that they would come to their mind is mango, Cebu, and the things we could offer.
Yeah, because mango is really expensive in Korea, and it's really yummy but really expensive. So when you travel to Southeast Asian countries, we first thing we look for is mango or other like tropical like fruits.
Okay, thank you for answering my question. I think you still have another question.
Oh yeah, so I already know Korean culture is popular in your kind of popular. I'm not sure how popular it is, but like, do people wanna learn Korean language because of the culture, or people wanna learn Korean like to be more successful, like to maybe work for Korean companies or whatever? Why do Filipino people wanna learn Korean?
Okay, so for me, most of the Filipino Korean learners I know are studying for the sake of working in Korea.
Oh, okay,
So
that's cool.
I
Makes sense.
think they see it as an employment opportunity. That's why they're studying Korean, and some of it maybe it's because of the influence of Korean culture
Mm-hmm.
via Korean drama and K-pop. But most of the people I know are studying because of employment purposes.
Okay, that makes sense. But do you learn Korean at school too?
Pardon?
Do you learn Korean at school too?
At school, yes.
Really?
Actually, I have invested a lot, well, not totally a lot, I'm not that rich, to study Korean. And I think I can show you some of my certificates here,
Oh
but
wow.
it will be blurred out anyway, I think. So, come on,
Okay.
how do I flip the camera? Oh, can you see it there? Here.
Wow. So
So
smart.
they are from the Korean language centers where I have studied. Actually, the first 2 years of studying Korean, I just studied by myself. So it's just self study. And then I thought, I cannot do this on my own because I need someone to correct my pronunciation, someone to correct my sentences. So I decided to enroll to an academy,
Mm,
multiple academies.
okay. I mean, like in public school, like when you are in middle school or high school, do you learn Korean language as a second language?
Actually, no.
No.
What we teach here as a second language is English. But I think there are some schools who offer Korean as academic subject.
Okay, interesting. But like among other Asian languages like maybe Chinese. I mean Japanese, Chinese, Korean. Which language is the most popular to learn?
Which one do we prefer to study?
Yeah.
I actually tried to study Nihongo or Japanese before,
Oh, okay.
and then I gave up.
Why?
Because of the letters, because of
I
its
know.
alphabet, it's so hard.
I
But one thing I like about Korean language is that Hangul, I think that is the easiest alphabet.
I
When it
agree.
comes to alphabet, it's the easiest to learn
Yeah.
because actually even just in my class, I can or students can just understand Hangul in just 1 hour. The thing
Oh,
that they will just have to do is just to memorize it.
really?
So I think King Sejong did a great job in creating Hangul.
Oh, okay. I mean, I knew that, but I didn't know like other, people also find it easy too. Okay, very interesting. I also tried to learn Japanese like last year because I wanted to learn one more language so I can become trilingual. But I also gave up because of Hanji, you know.
Yes.
Like once I saw it, like oh no, I don't even like remember how to write my name in like Chinese character.
저도요. Especially Chinese. It's so hard.
Exactly. I've another question too, actually. So you guys have a really like a perfect image about Korean people, like from the drama or from like K-pop stars. But like you also have a lot of Korean friends, and when you meet Korean people in person, they actually don't look like celebrities. Like
That's true.
maybe I'm like I'm not like I'm totally far away from celebrities. Like I'm
Not
like
really.
such a like ordinary ugly Korean person.
No, you're not ugly.
So like so you don't really have the image anymore, right?
Well, actually, personally, in my opinion, I the moment I have been exposed to Korean culture, Korean thing, because of being with Koreans, I also have seen a lot of flaws. Of course, I think every country has their flaws, right? So I don't right now. I don't have that perfect image for Korea anymore. For example, when it comes to the system of education in Korea,
Uh-huh.
it's really promising. However, I think they are putting. I don't know if it's okay to say this.
Sure, sure, don't
It's
worry.
just my opinion anyway. Since there, my experience as an English teacher for the Koreans before, most of my students before were kids to teenagers, and then I have witnessed how they were so pressured by
Uh,
studying. It's like it's very normal to see a student having their nose bleeding because of too much studying. So, and then there's one student of mine before that it's not an argument, but yeah, we argued a little just because he got 9/10 score for the quiz, and she wants me to record it as perfect score. However, I cannot do that because she only got 9. But then suddenly she cried. I found out the reason why is because if she will go home with 9/10 score, her mom would beat her up.
I understand. You know very well actually. That's that is really true. That's really they can be even worse in Korea, especially in Seoul and especially in certain areas like Gangnam.
Mhm.
Like Gangnam moms are crazy about education. So I don't know if you heard of this drama called Sky Castle.
Hi, Castle.
You have you
네,
watched it?
봤어요.
봤어요?
네.
Ah, okay. So this drama like represents Korea very well, and I didn't really get that much pressure from my parents. Actually, not at all. That my parents didn't care about me studying like at all. Actually, they bothered me more. But yeah, a lot of my friends actually were really pressured studying really hard to go to a good university. Then after university, they really study hard to get a really good job, like to work for Samsung, whatever. Yeah, that's kind of true. Like Korea has been developing very fast, but also there are a lot of flaws too, like you said. There are a lot to fix, I think too.
Yeah, it's crazy because I remembered one of my students was 7 years old that time. And then it would take her like 8 to 5 p.m. to study in the academy. And then after that, she has to study piano lesson like for 6 to 7 o'clock.
Right.
And then swimming lesson at 7 to 8 o'clock. Like, wow.
Okay, that's me when I was second year in my elementary school. Like I went to five different schools too.
That's very exhausting.
Yeah, at the time it was okay because I wanted to do that, but actually in when I was in high school, for example, during the vacation, I was in a library from 10 a.m. to 1 a.m. next morning.
Really?
Yeah,
It
in
opens 24 hours?
not 24 hours, like more than 12 hours, but like almost every day. It was on vacation, summer vacation.
Well, I think it's time for my last question for you.
Okay.
It's about what I have mentioned last time.
Right.
What's your opinion about hashtag cancel Korea?
I seriously think that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs should interrupt this issue. This is actually a serious matter because it can lead to a controversy between Philippines and Korea. I'm just worried because this is too much. It's just very embarrassing and my emotions cannot take this anymore. I'm just stressed about all this drama and I'm scared that some people might bash me also again for being a Korean just because of these stupid people. But you do know, guys, that he's just wanting attention, right? He's not the representative of Korea. And I think he's not gonna stop criticizing and discriminating Filipinos. Our country should do something about him. I sincerely ask you and I beg you to please don't watch his video. He just wants attention and some views. Please ignore him. Ignorance is the key. You all know that. Please ignore him and don't even react on his videos. He doesn't deserve your attention. Don't waste your time on him.
Ooh.